Hey guys, Katie the Goober Tuber here, and I just wanted to talk to you really quick about some of the movies that I recently saw, and they are The Incredibles 2, obviously, and Hereditary, and I also saw Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, Will You Be My Neighbor movie. It was more of a documentary, but we'll get into that. So just a really quick overview of all the movies. I'm not going to go into detail, so there are no spoiler alerts here, but I saw Incredibles 2 and it was most definitely incredible. I do have to say that it led up to all my expectations. It was so good. The characters were all there. They just did a really good job with the plot. There was a lot of action and it was just a really good movie. I'm sure you have heard of some of the comments about there being strobe light effects in the movie, and I was really curious about that before I went to go see it because my dad actually has epilepsy. I didn't go with my dad, but I did go to see the movie, and there are pretty intense strobe light effects. So if you have epilepsy or if you know someone who has epilepsy, unfortunately, I strongly recommend that you do not go see the movie. Or if you're going with someone who has epilepsy, make sure you know the movie well before you go, so that way at the parts where there are strobe lights, I don't know what anyone could do. I guess they could kind of put their head between their legs or cover their eyes. I'm not sure, but it really is pretty intense. It was even intense for me, and I don't have epilepsy. I'm actually really surprised that Disney didn't think of that whole strobe light effect when they made the movie. Usually they're really good about that kind of a thing, and I was really surprised that they couldn't figure out another way. I'm sure they could have, but they didn't figure out another way to work that out in the movie, to make it so it wasn't harmful to anyone who maybe have sensitivity to light or anything like that. But anyway, other than that, it was a really great movie. The plot was really good. It was pretty long, so put aside a good few hours for this, at least 2.5, I would say. So it was a really good movie, though. I definitely strongly suggest it if you're a Disney fan, especially if you're an Incredibles fan. It will not let you down, I promise. And it was really funny. There were some comical moments with Jack and his dad. All the grown-ups, all the adults were laughing, and it was just a really good, heartwarming movie. And the short film before, I forget what it's called, it was really good. It was very different than a lot of their other short films. It was unpredictable, and I had like a roller coaster of emotions through the whole thing. I didn't really understand it at first. Near the end, when they finally showed you what exactly was happening, you're like, oh my gosh, it was really emotional. I was crying. It was very sad, but it was very good, very well done. And Hereditary, that was a scary movie. I don't know if you've seen the trailer for it. If you have, I did not personally like this movie. I'm a huge horror movie fan. Anything scary, anything with ghosts, anything like that I love. And I was really looking forward to this. I heard some really great things. I heard it was very scary. So I went with 2 of my friends, and it was very long. I don't think the movie in general was long, but they took a little too long to get to the point. And if you know scary movies where someone sees something in the movie and they tell someone they know, oh, come look at this, come see this, usually in scary movies when that happens, the person comes to see it and it's gone, and the person looks crazy. In this movie, it was the complete opposite. Everything that was happening in that movie was really happening. You kept thinking that it was going to be in someone's head, it was going to be all mental. It's not. Everything that goes on in the movie is really going on, which was really surprising. And I'm not going to tell you what happens or what the outcome is, but it was basically about satanic worshiping, and that doesn't really bother me. I've seen a lot of different kinds of scary things, and this movie for some reason really bothered me. I got kind of an uneasy feeling near the end of the movie. The ending was terrible, by the way. I did not like the ending at all, but it was just kind of silly. It didn't really work. It was just a bad ending. At the end of the movie, I didn't feel clean. I don't know how else to explain it. I'm not religious, and I don't mean to offend anyone with anything that I say, but I felt dirty. I felt like there were things attached to me. I felt like there were demons literally attached to me. It was it was definitely scary, and I felt like I needed to go to church immediately after that movie. That's how kind of intense it was in that aspect. But not my favorite movie. If you're a huge horror fan, it might disappoint you a little bit. It was definitely scary, don't get me wrong. That expectation was completely met. It was horrifying in a lot of different ways, but it wasn't the best overall movie. I don't think I would buy it, and I don't think I would go watch it again in theaters. So the last one is Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood and Will You Be My Neighbor? And this wasn't really like a movie. It was more of a documentation about Mr. Rogers and his life and the show and how it started, and all of the different things that led to him being recognized for who he was. It also showed some points of people who made fun of him, which was kind of, it made me so sad. I was crying through parts of the movie. I did cry near the end when it got a little more emotional, when he had passed away. But I didn't know that there were so many people out there who didn't care for him and that didn't like him. Jim Carrey was one of the celebrities that made fun of him. Eddie Murphy was one of them as well, and I was really disappointed in that. I mean, I know they're comedians, and I know that everyone has different opinions, and that, you know, there's so many different ways that you can look at it, but it made me really sad to see those celebrities that I actually like them, that really made fun of him and all the good he did. Mr. Rogers was a really good person, in my opinion. Everything that you saw on the TV show, everything that he said, the way he acted, the way he cared, it was real. You know, watching that show as a child when I was little, I always thought that, I always wondered, was Mr. Rogers really like this in real life? Because he was so kind, so quiet, so poised. And I was always so curious to know if that was really who he was or if it was an act. And it wasn't an act. He genuinely cared about children. He cared about how they felt. And he cared about teaching them and letting them know, to make them feel good and to show them all of the struggles that they may encounter in the world and what they can do and how they can kind of deal with the feelings that they have whenever they're going through a tough time. And I thought that was wonderful. I just love him. I definitely, if I ever have kids, I'm going to have all the DVDs for Mr. Rogers shows so that way they can watch it too, because I think he was just a wonderful guy. And that's really all I have to say. Those are the 3 movies that I saw recently over the past week, and I'm actually going to see The Incredibles again tonight because my boyfriend hasn't seen it, so of course he has to go see it. And that's really it. I hope you guys have a good weekend. Sorry it's been so long since I've posted a video. I'm still getting used to everything. It's a lot of work editing these videos, but have a great 4th of July, and I'll see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like if you like this video. Leave me some comments, some suggestions, anything more you would want to see or want to hear, and I may be able to include it in my next video. Thanks, guys.